Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Chorus Girl Quilting. It's Show and Tell Sunday. We're at the Love Shack again, where I'm going to show you a quilt that I made from blocks that I kind of inherited. um, Sometimes when life hands you sad things, happy things come out of it. And these blocks, these bow tie, this is a bow tie. And then this right here is a 9-patch, which you've seen before. Those blocks came out of my Aunt Ruby's sewing room. And back about 3 years ago in the spring, my cousin and I were looking through some things in my aunt's sewing room. She had passed away the previous fall, which left a huge hole in our family. And someday I'm going to tell you all about her, and I might even put some video of her in one of these. But she had a box that had all of these kind of orphan bow tie blocks and 9-patch blocks in them. And we don't really know where they came from. We're pretty sure that she did not make these blocks. The bow tie is one of my favorite kind of traditional, old school, old-fashioned quilt blocks. And so I really like these. And I love, they have this multicolored polka dot. And here's something that Handyman and I were just talking about. I did not notice until just now that these background polka dot prints are not all the same. We have these multicolored ones in most of them. And then in some, we have just the gold dots. And then we have this guy over here that has gold dots and this odd little print here. And somebody would probably go, why did they do that? Why did they use that fabric there? And the answer to that is probably, well, whoever made those blocks ran out of polka dot fabric, so they grabbed what they had. Most likely, many of these came from clothing that was already, maybe it had outlived its life as a dress or a shirt or an apron or whatever. And so the person who made these blocks used what was usable in those pieces of clothing to make quilt blocks. And that's how my family quilted early on. It was to use what you had to make something else that was useful, namely something to keep you warm when it was cold. And so that's the bow tie block part. Now these 9-patches, I don't even know if the same person made these two different blocks. I have no idea. But these are hand stitched together, and they're made out of this kind of shiny sateen fabric, and they have a sheen to them, which is really cool. And they feel really satiny. They're not satin, but they're kind of a sateen finish fabric. So I had these blocks, and I was really puzzling in my head what I should do with them. I wanted to make something out of them because they came out of my aunt's sewing room, and I thought that would be a great thing to do, and that I would think about her every time I saw them. And so I wasn't quite sure what to do because, one, they're two different sizes, and two, I didn't have anything that really coordinated with them that I could think of in my stash. So that was in the spring that I brought those home. And that following fall, I went to a shop hop. I was doing a shop hop. It's basically an event where local quilt shops will get together and they make this big event over several days, and you can hop from shop to shop, and they give you a passport and you get it stamped and you win prizes and all that. And I went to a shop. It's a really nice shop in our area, but it's not one that I think of first because it's kind of out of the way and I'm not super familiar with it. But I walked in to that shop, and front and center was this fabric collection that I used to to bring this all together. And the two fabrics that stuck out to me were this polka dot here and this polka dot here. And I immediately knew that was the fabric that I needed to use to make this quilt come together. In the border is most of the fabrics in this fabric line. And I just bought it in a little pre-cut set of 5-inch squares and made this border. So to make the blocks all the same size, I just did the math and figured out I need to make borders a certain size on the 9 patch to be, I think maybe those blocks might be 8 inches. So I just had to figure out how much I needed to add, and I made sure I trimmed them down to square. And the border on this one, of course, is more narrow. And then I figured out my border, and there were way more of these 9 patches than there were bow ties. So they're in the border all the way around with the fabrics in between. And my layout, I wanted it to have some, different movement. So I kept all the like bow ties in a diagonal row as best as I could. Here, they're not the same, but they're dark. And I only had one green checked one. So I tried to keep them together in rows diagonally, and then I flipped the direction of the bow ties with each one. So I also pieced the back because I didn't really know what I was going to do when I found this fabric to go with these blocks. I didn't really know what I was going to do. So I just kind of guessed and bought a couple yards of each thing and hoped that I would have enough. And then I thought, well, if I don't, I can always piece it. So that's what I did. And we're going to flip it so you can see the back and the label that I made to go with it. So hold tight and we'll be right back. So here is the back of the quilt, obviously. I love this print here. I think it's so cool. I have no idea. It doesn't really say anything, but I just love the lettering. And it has all of these kind of botanical things in it, along with, in the very background, which you can see better on this gold, is kind of newspaper print and ads and things like that. There's butterflies and leaves and other little flowers, and it was a fall collection. And you can see that I still had 9 patches left over, so they became part of the piecing of the piecing together of the back. And also, when I took this was one that Nancy did for me. You've heard me talk about Nancy in my previous videos, because this was long before I got the long arm. And for this one, I just took it to her, and you can take your quilts to her and just put QAD, and she will do whatever. It means quilt as desired, and so it's her choice. I totally trusted her to do something beautiful, and the quilt pattern is it has lots of movement, and it's very curly Q, and I knew it would be perfect when she did it. And so I also made a label. This one is one I printed on my computer. I have this, I don't know if I've talked about this before, but I found this great printable fabric. It has a paper backing on it, and you can actually run it through your inkjet printer. So yeah, Bow Ties and Patches, and it says blocks from Aunt Ruby's sewing room. And I did say that I designed this quilt. So it was designed and pieced by me, and then quilted by Nancy in April of 2024. That's when I actually got it finished. So that is the Bow Ties and Patches quilt. Just it's a great memory for me. It's a great, the blocks and the whole thing is something I really treasure because it has such a connection to my aunt. And so I hope you like it too. Thanks for watching. We're on our way to trying to get 200 subscribers. So please share and like and subscribe. Thanks again, Handyman, for doing the video. And we will see you on Wednesday for what I'm working on Wednesday. Bye.